Hello, I'm Thomas Haire, Chief Content Officer at the Performance Driven Marketing Institute, a not-for-profit trade association that serves companies in the performance and direct-to-consumer marketing world. Welcome to the latest episode of Take 20, created by the PDMI's Brand Response Council. These 20-minute or thereabouts live conversations featuring leaders in the performance marketing world speaking about the hottest topics in the industry are scheduled twice a month. Before we get to today's conversation, a quick housekeeping note. We'll be addressing any questions from the audience at the end of today's session, but you don't have to wait to ask them. Utilize the questions tab on your control panel to type and send your question in, and we'll be collecting them, and we'll try to get to as many as possible in the final moments of the episode. Today's episode is a preview of PDMI East, the association's event next Monday through Wednesday at Eden Rock, Miami Beach. That's right, we're just 5 days away. What can attendees expect from this much anticipated event, aside from much better weather than we're having in the Northeast lately? I'm sure we're going to have that. I just looked at the forecast and it's looking good. With 9 educational sessions and a series of networking events, PDMI East will again feature the kind of education and networking that members and past attendees have grown to love. What will be the standout moments of the show? Well, our Take 20 host and chair of the PDMI's Brand Response Council and moderator of one of those 9 sessions, Modern Postcard's Chris Foster, is here to serve as your surrogate by asking me questions about what the PDMI team has planned for the event. All right, Chris, go for it.
Awesome. First of all, we're so excited to be back at PDMI East, again, the live conference. It seems too long ago that we all met in San Diego. So it's going to be fantastic to see not only old friends and relationships, but really to meet new people. So excited to meet new folks that have come to PDMI for the first time and really welcome those folks in as we get in on Monday. And so as we start all trickling in on Monday, Tom, I think you've got something planned for these new attendees and for folks on the councils, right?
Yeah, we sure do. You know, I mean, our kind of our game plan here with our shows is to have Monday be the arrival day. You know, we open up the meeting hall at noon on Monday. Registration opens a couple hours before that, so that's when people can start picking up badges. The meeting hall is going to be open. There will be beer and wine starting right at noon, provided by the team at Reels with the bar. There's going to be candy and coffee and tea from Southern New Hampshire University and 212 Direct. So the meeting hall will be a great place to start your day, kind of ease into the schedule, do some early meetings, all that stuff. But really, the main focus on Monday, as you mentioned, is our new attendee mixer, which starts at 5 o'clock. Goes for about an hour and a half. We've got 2 great sponsors this year with Baker Hostetler and Verdi Payments jumping up to support. We're expecting a nice crowd. That new attendee mixer is limited to brand new attendees of PDMI events and our PDMI council members. You know, we want to put our best foot forward with our best representatives from the PDMI in welcoming folks, and so it should be a really fun time. It's at the Sea Breeze Spa Terrace, which is the rooftop of the spa at the Eden Rock, which overlooks the main pool. So should be a great spot for a beautiful sunset and to meet those first new folks.
Great way to start. And what I've noticed with the new attendee mixers is it gets these new folks immediately introduced into the PDMI family, right? Everyone's eager to meet them. Everyone's eager to welcome them. And it just makes the next 3 days so much easier, because as you start going through the educational sessions and the lunches and the other networking events, you're already now connecting to people you just met the night before. So it's a little bit more comfortable, and they can introduce you even to more people as other folks come in for the other evening events.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the key, is that you know, when you go to a new trade show, it can be tough to get into the mix of the folks who are vets there. You know, we were just talking about that before we came on the air, and so that's really the goal, is to allow our new folks to, you know, meet some like folks, to meet the team of PDMI council members who are our best supporters, and really give them a base of people and faces that they know going forward throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah, really excited. And then the next morning, we just jump right into those, you know, aforementioned educational sessions. The first one is, I think, just fantastic, because it focuses on CTV and how, and I remember I've been in PDMIs long enough to years and years ago, they said, well, CTV is just starting. It's this small little fledgling channel. We're not quite sure what it's going to be. And look, you roll the years, a couple years later, now you have an entire panel dedicated to the CTV evolution on Overdrive.
Right, right. I mean, I think it's been one of our greatest growth areas over the last couple of years has been within this space, the CTV, the ad tech portion that goes with it, the agencies that are working so hard to figure out how performance is going to work in CTV, and the ad tech partners who are working with them. So we're really excited about this session. We had early buy-in on this session from both TV Scientific and Jamloop, who were kind of in the audience in San Diego 6 months ago for the session that was kind of the precursor of this one. And they liked that enough to step up and say, we want to take part. Then adding in, the lead on analytics from an agency like TCA and Sergey, adding in Bridge from Comcast Advertising, Bridge Shaw from Comcast Advertising, who actually moderated a panel for us in San Diego, who's such a great expert on everything that we're talking about here. And then bringing in Cass Baker from GainShare to moderate. It's a powerful group. Should be a really interesting look at what's happening right now, what's going to be happening over the next year. Institutional knowledge is going to be really important for D2C brands and their media buying partners as the outlet kind of expands. So we're happy to bring that to everybody.
Yeah, and what I love too is that the very next session is almost CTV part 2. And that's how CTV is reaching the Hispanic consumers. So it's a really natural and easy extension to the very next panel. So hopefully folks just stay in their seat.
Yeah, that'd be great if they did. I mean, look, our Hispanic Council has been focused on, attributions, CTV, and the different changes that are happening there. The Hispanic market over indexes on a lot of different things, and when it comes to technology and media outlets, social, all these different things. And they're already over-indexing on CTV and streaming usage. So what's the best way to reach them? How can we do that? Brought together a panel again of CTV outlets, Roku, Samsung, both on this, as well as Amari Mazzari from NBCU and Telemundo's Miami outlet. So it's going to be a great group. Agency folks involved as well. Really should be a thought-provoking thing because, as we know, the Hispanic consumer is a growing and important part of what performance marketers are trying to reach.
Absolutely. And then we've got a nice lunch break where I'm assuming folks are going to come in, either go out or hopefully stay in, right, and do some networking and meet the people and schedule some meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. That hour lunch, obviously the meeting hall, we're going to have lunch on Tuesday and Wednesday provided by Hybrid Media Services. So it makes it easier for you to kind of pop out and grab lunch in the meeting hall. And then of course, everything else I mentioned about Monday goes on through the rest of the show in the meeting hall with coffee, beer, wine, candy, refreshments, all that good stuff. Thanks to all of our sponsors. So, no reason to leave the area too far if you don't need to, and stick around so you can be back for the afternoon sessions.
That's right. And the afternoon kicks off, and I love this controversial-ish kind of title of "Retail is Dead," what the Jenner Kardashians know that you don't. What I love about this is that you're tackling head-on with this panel the large changes that have happened within direct-to-consumer marketing, right? Yeah. No longer is it just a 30-second spot or a 30-minute spot on TV. It's instead using Meta, Google, TikTok, YouTube, and you name it.
Right. It's they're really tackling all things here, and I got to give credit to Ranjit Mulgalankar from Flat World Group for kind of bringing this group together to talk about this. Ranjit's a key member of our e-commerce council, and this was kind of his idea and his baby. He brought in a great moderator, and Jack Kirby, who's kind of he's a legend in the direct-to-consumer performance space, and I probably give credit to Jack for this title. It seems like it's right out of his playbook. So it should be an interesting session. We're going to get into influencers, we're going to get into Amazon, we're going to get into total shoppability and all of the issues that this is causing for retail. And as much as that goes, I'm not sure what they're fully preparing, but there's a chance to ask questions about retail media networks here. Obviously, the growth there is huge. So what's retail doing to fight back within all of this in a way? It should be a really interesting panel. As I was telling you before, we have more speakers at this event than we've had since COVID. 42 total speakers, if you count all the speakers and moderators. Well over half of those are brand new speakers to us, and it's great to see some new names and get some new, fresh thought. And we've got that with Marianne and Andrew, who have both been around the industry for a while, but they've never been on stage for us. So it's great to have them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then contrasting that with some veterans on the stage is the panel that I'm actually moderating. It's called Solving Your CTA Puzzle. We had a very largely attended Take 20 webinar that focused on this. And so we decided to take it to the full stage because of the engagement and involvement. And really what we're going to talk about is how consumers are responding to marketers' ads today, right? It's URLs, it's QR codes, it's toll-free numbers. We've got a bunch of panelists from every part of the industry that's represented to show how D2C marketers are tracking consumer responses and what the actual activity is. And we're going to have examples. We're going to have landing page examples, QR examples, campaign examples, and where 800 numbers really won the day and which industries it's working. So we've got Chris Kasdorf from Dial 800. We've got Ken Carey from Script to Screen. We've got Gregory Silvano from Biased, and Mike Tang from Flow Code. Yours truly is going to be moderating this group. Really excited to show real life examples of what's working in the field and more. So excited about that. And thanks, Tom, for the opportunity. And what I love about this too is just like how the morning had a CTV and CTV Hispanic, we're talking about calls to action. And then right after that is the expanding reach of QR codes, where you've got a brand and an agency and a service all part of this panel.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, thanks, Chris, for helping put together that panel. Really well done. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. And you have some great folks there, and some strong panelists. So you're going to make your job as a moderator pretty easy. But yes,
I know.
The flow into the next session is pretty clear. And so Andy Donato from Extreme Reach has put on a QR code panel for us a couple of years ago. That, as we all know, QR codes have like exploded in growth as far as a response outlet and response mechanism. So we wanted to dive back in, and we put together a really strong panel here, obviously with Southern New Hampshire University as a marketer who's using these, with Flow Code themselves again. Flow Code's doing big business in our space, and then Sarah from Blue Water, who's a real expert on all things QR and getting it into the media mix and attribution of it all. And then finally, we have Linda Goldstein, obviously, who Linda's one of our favorites. She's the co-chair of our Women's Leadership Council. And Linda will be there to give a little weight to this and say, okay, this is all awesome, but here's what you got to look out for from the regulatory perspective. And sometimes when something's so hot, it's important to hear that message. So I think it's going to make for a great panel. Andy's put together another great group, and we're looking forward to it. It's a great way to end the day on Tuesday.
Great way to end the day. And so I think you talked about Tuesday night, where on that Monday for new attendees and meeting folks for the first time, they get another opportunity to expand their network. And the Tuesday evening event is a way for old friends to reconnect at a familiar place. So talk about the Tuesday evening.
Yeah, so Tuesday, we're very fortunate to have Extreme Reach as one of our big party sponsors, and they've done it for years, and we're so thankful for their support. But the Sunset Shangri-La at the ERC Garden Aquatica pool, which is right out at the front of the hotel, meaning beachside, should make for a lovely place for everyone to get together. It's an all-access party. You have a badge, you're in, and we hope to see all of you there. It should be just a great time. It's usually the peak party of the entire event, and it should be a nice crowd and a great chance for everyone to kind of get together and connect, and also enjoy a nice Miami sunset while they're at it.
Absolutely. So everyone, after everyone goes to bed early, which never happens at PDMI. But what I love about the next day session on Wednesday is, there's a lot of interesting stuff. You've got QR codes, CTV, all that interesting new technologies. However, still the base of performance marketing is linear TV. That's still the lion's share. It's still the largest amount of dollars in the viewing and advertising. And so you're starting off the next day on Wednesday with the linear and CTV media outlet roundtable, bringing it kind of quote unquote back home to traditional roots and expanding on those roots with new technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me first jump in and say that, I'm really excited about this group. I think we've got a great mix. I've had a couple of great meetings with this panel. I'm moderating that session, so it's been wonderful. Let's backtrack that starts at 9:30 on Wednesday. Let's backtrack an hour and a half to 8 a.m. and the Women's Leadership Breakfast, which starts at 8 a.m. that day. This is, I think, our fourth or fifth show with the Women's Leadership Breakfast. Yangaroo is the sponsor. We're very thankful for their sponsorship. This has become a powerful event for women in the performance marketing space and the attendees of this show. We have a sold out crowd for this breakfast. It's going to be a tremendous time for women in the industry to connect, to create new leadership, to make new connections. I know they're planning a little bit of a speed dating situation for this hour. There will be a nice full breakfast for the ladies there, which will be great coming off that early Tuesday night. So yeah, that should be a wonderful event. Our Women's Leadership Breakfast brought to you by Yangaroo is always great. Allows us to highlight our Women's Leadership Council, of course, which I'll talk more about in a minute when we get to the next session. So didn't want to leave them behind. But yes, the linear and CTV media outlet roundtable. You know, we had kind of kept the linear and streaming and then the linear and CTV split into two different sessions of late. And with the outlets. I wanted to bring them together this time because there's just, I mean, if you're doing a campaign, you're doing it across everything, right? You're not just stuck on one. So, and this is a really nice mix. So you got Reels, who's pretty much all linear, right? You got Roku, which is CTV, just flat out.
Right.
You got Dish, which is with everything that Dish offers, it's a perfect bridge between those two things. So the conversation that we're preparing is really like a right now and next 12 months conversation. You know,
Perfect.
What's working, what are clients asking for, you know, what verticals are working on what outlets, where might the growth come from, what might be next from a combination standpoint, where are we at on measurement, all of these things. So it should be a really interesting conversation. I'm very proud to have surrounded myself with some great speakers.
Yeah, that's going to be wonderful and eclectic. And what I think is so interesting is the next one, kind of the ROI funnel for performance marketing. It's really, this is a creative session, right? It's about best practices. It's about design thinking. It's about looking at solutions and solving problems. It's kind of a real in the field, you know, what are we doing now kind of panel.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Fern Lee of Thor Associates, who's the chair of our Women's Leadership Council, and this is their presentation for this event. She's always going to have some really thoughtful people on stage, and she's going to press them. And we've got a great group. We've got two agency leaders here in Shannon Ellis and Matt Kelly, who are going to be able to bring that the concept of media attribution and how that funnel is working once you get the ad up, you know, where AI is fitting to their types of what they're doing, so forth and so on. Then we've got a couple of brand folks with Racine Levy from Angie, Michael Weinstein, who is the fractional CMO for Ideal Living. And you know, it should be just a really well thought out, well presented. I actually got the draft deck from them today, and it looks like it's going to be a really strong conversation. Yeah, the ROI funnel is it's the biggest buzzword. It's everything that people want to know about. So it should be a really awesome conversation.
That's fantastic. And then what you've got is a new item that's added. Called the Brand Mastermind. Tell us about that, because that's kind of a new addition into the mix of educational sessions.
Yeah, so I mean, we're trying to work our way towards like these mastermind panels where we have a round table of brands having conversation about, you know, a specific topic, and you know, we're trying to make sure that this is something that stays on the calendar from here and builds out to from 4 speakers on this one to maybe 6 or 7 speakers and into like a full-fledged conversational opportunity with an audience in place. So, you know, as it stands, it's going to be presented as a great panel. We're lucky to have Natalie Rutledge from TCA, one of our sponsors for the event. She's moderating this group. We've got a very eclectic group of marketers on this panel. Flatika, obviously, which is a huge digital gaming company out of Israel, National Debt Relief, and all of the great work that they've done in the financial services space, Southern New Hampshire University in the educational space, and Oracle NetSuite, obviously, in the tech space. I mean, they're all doing incredible work in performance campaigns, and for us to have these 4 brands on stage is a big deal, and it's a big anchor for this Wednesday schedule. You know, I would urge every single person not to miss this panel. I think it's going to be one of the best ones we've got.
Right. And then finally, you've got one final panel where we're talking about AI, and we know that AI has been in discussion. We know everybody's talking about AI in their workplace. So here's a fantastic opportunity for the attendees to actually hear from agencies how AI is changing the agency game, which also has ripple effects to media and to brands and to business services, because these are the folks who are actually using the tool.
Yeah. I mean, this is the last panel to come together. Blue Water, and thank you, Blue Water. You are our education sponsor for this event, and you know, we appreciate that support. Makes it easier for us to have everything in place when we have an education sponsor, and Blue Water has been very committed and very helpful in that. So Andy Latimer from Blue Water is moderating this group. They put this panel together. It's a really strong group. So Sheila Bryan from Modus Direct from the agency side will be in a very effective part of this, talking about how they're using AI in the media landscape. But you know, the highlights here again are brand people. Mike Rabinovitz from Echelon Fitness, and then Mike Stahl, who is currently in a consulting role, but his last 2 gigs were as CMO of ServPro and United Healthcare, and you don't get brands much bigger than that. So these are big thinkers who are going to provide, I think, some major thoughts. And for the folks who are still looking and hungry for information, I mean, I think we're closing out with 2 sessions here on the schedule with 6 brands across those 2 sessions. I think you gotta make time if you're committed to knowing what's happening in performance marketing. These 2 sessions are going to be crucial to your experience at PDMI East.
Absolutely. And that's a fantastic way to end the educational session, but the conference isn't over.
No. So we end the education at 3:30. Shuffle you back over into the meeting hall and do some final handshakes and whatnot there until 5. Meeting hall will stay open until 5, again, with all of the different opportunities that are happening in there. And then we close it out with one last party where we go back out front to that Eden Rock Garden and Aquatica Pool location. Lockard and Wexler Direct, another longtime event sponsor, always taking big stock in our events. We thank them again for their support. The Seaview Social is how we close out the event. I know that I'm gonna get out of the suit and probably be wearing a t-shirt that night. You know, it feels like the end, especially when you've been working on this event for 6 months. It definitely feels like the end, and you want to just kind of relax. But it should be a great time to, like, you know, fortify those connections you made. One last laugh with old friends. All of those things. So it should be a great time. Again, the weather's looking beautiful, and we all know that Miami could have a straight thunderstorm, but that weather's looking great. So we're hopeful that we're going to provide not only education and networking, but also just a very comfortable environment for everyone to get together.
That's great. Can't wait. Can't wait for PDMI East. It's back. We've been waiting a long time for it, and it's finally here. Yeah, so any parting thoughts before everybody gets on their plane and arrives in Miami?
I would say, you know, bring your best networking game. Bring your notebook or your laptop or your iPad or whatever it is you take notes on. You're going to learn a lot in those educational sessions. You're going to have a lot of chances to meet new people and see old friends. It's going to be a great time. You know, I'm sorry that you have to go through baggage claim at Miami Airport. We all have to face that fact. But such is life. You know, the hotel's ready for us. We're looking forward to it, so it should be a good show. So thanks, Chris, for walking me through it and helping me remember what the heck I'm doing next week.
Absolutely. Well, we're really looking forward to it. We're grateful for all the sponsors at PDMI for making that possible, and of course for your team to put the educational sessions together. And yep. I guess we'll see everybody in Miami.
We will. I'm going to tell everyone right now that you know, there's still time to register online. We don't close online pre-reg until Friday at Friday evening, 5 o'clock-ish Eastern time. Visit thepdmi.com/PDMI-East. for details. That would save you, if you're planning on coming, that would save you $100 off of the on-site registration, whichever badge you buy. So that's a nice break. Your next opportunity to attend a live online Take 20 episode is Wednesday, April 17th. No rest for the weary. We are actually working hard on prepping a Take 20 for just after the show. It's a group of experts in the fast channel realm getting ready to discuss the latest developments for performance marketers on this new outlet. Please visit thepdmi.com/take-20 to check out the upcoming topics and register today. Thanks again for joining us on the episode of PDMI's Take 20. Thank you, Chris. We'll see you in Miami Beach.
Absolutely. See you in Miami. Bye.
Bye-bye.